There's a war happening right now. It's not fought with bullets or bombs, no armies, no flags, no roaring crowds or breaking news. But it's the most important war you'll ever fight, and the most dangerous one to lose. It's the war within, the silent battle between the weaker you and the greater you, between the voice that says, I can, and the one that whispers, I can't, between the part of you that wants to rise and the part of you that wants to stay safe. This war doesn't happen once. It happens every day, every morning when the alarm rings, every night when the excuses creep in, every time you feel fear and doubt trying to talk you out of your future. And here's the truth. If you don't win the battle within, you'll lose everything else. You'll lose your confidence. You'll lose your focus. You'll lose the fire that makes life feel worth it, because no enemy on the outside can defeat a person who has mastered the fight on the inside. And no amount of success, praise, or power can protect a person at war with themselves. You want to change your life? Then understand this. The battle doesn't start with the world. It starts with you. It starts in your thoughts. It starts in your habits. It starts with what you allow to live in your mind and what you decide to kill. Everything begins with the mind. Everything. Before the empire, the mind. Before the masterpiece, the mind. Before the transformation, the mind. Andrew Carnegie didn't build his fortune with steel. He built it with thought. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb by accident. He failed over 10,000 times and still saw it in his mind. Walt Disney was rejected hundreds of times, but he already lived in the world he was building long before anyone else could see it. The mind is the first battlefield, and if you lose there, nothing else matters, because the quality of your mind determines the direction of your life. And if you don't train your mind, the world will train it for you, with fear, with doubt, with mediocrity disguised as comfort. People aren't stuck because they don't have talent. They're stuck because they've accepted a mindset that says, this is all I'll ever be. That's a lie. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your pain. You are the decision you make right now to rise, to become, to master the only battle that truly matters. Belief is not some motivational fluff. It's not wishful thinking or blind hope. Belief is power. Belief is structure. Belief is the engine that moves every part of your life. You will never rise above the level of your belief. You will never take action bigger than your self-image allows. That's why so many people shrink. They don't lack opportunity. They lack identity. They've built a prison of limitation inside their own mind. You want to believe in yourself, then prove it to yourself. Keep the promises you make when no one's watching. Do the hard thing when it's easier to hide. Stack the wins not for the world, but for the warrior inside. That's how belief is built. One choice at a time, one battle at a time, one day at a time. And when you believe in yourself at the deepest level, you become untouchable. Not because you never failed, but because failure no longer controls your direction. Clarity is not a luxury, it's a weapon. Most people are drowning in distractions. They confuse motion with meaning. They're busy all day, but they're not moving forward. They don't need more motivation. They need clarity. What do you want? What are you here to do? What matters so much that you're willing to suffer for it? When you have clarity, your energy multiplies. Your decisions get sharper. You stop chasing everything and you start building something. Clarity cuts through the noise. Clarity turns average people into focused forces. Clarity makes your vision louder than the world's opinions. Don't be another person who talks big and lives small. Be the person whose clarity becomes obsession, because a person with vision will always outlast the one with just ambition. You need a vision that burns through your doubt, a vision that wakes you up in the morning and keeps you grinding when motivation dies, because it will die. There will be days when the fire is gone, when the pain is high, when the progress feels invisible. And it's in that moment your vision has to speak louder than your emotions. Walt Disney didn't keep going because it was easy. He kept going because he saw what others couldn't. He didn't need permission to believe. You don't either. See it, feel it, fight for it, because without vision your mind will default to survival. And survival never leads to greatness. Purpose gives your pain a reason. It gives your struggle a meaning. Without purpose, you'll quit the first time it gets hard. But when you know why you're fighting, you become relentless. You become dangerous. You become someone who can no longer be broken by the things that used to stop you. Purpose is the fire that doesn't burn out. It's not just what you want, it's what you must do, the thing that tugs at your soul when the world goes quiet. The mission that makes you feel like your life isn't just something you live, it's something you lead. You weren't born to just exist. You were born to conquer something, to build something, to leave something behind that's bigger than your name. And no one's going to hand that to you. You've got to take it with vision, with discipline, with fire in your chest and steel in your spine. Because if you don't fight for your future, no one else will. Discipline is the bridge between purpose and power. You can have a vision, you can have belief, but without discipline, they'll rot into dreams that die in your journal. Discipline is doing it when you don't feel like it, showing up when you're tired, keeping the promise when no one's watching, choosing growth over comfort every time. Discipline is rare. That's why excellence is rare. Every successful person you admire, from Mandela to Musk, from Jordan to Jobs, they didn't just dream bigger, they executed harder. They built systems when others built excuses. And that discipline wasn't something they were born with. It was forged in discomfort. It was shaped by failure. It was earned, not inherited. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start acting like the person you want to become. Because success doesn't come to the person with the best idea. It comes to the one who moves with purpose, trains with discipline, and never backs down from the battle within. Discipline is the fire you walk through every day to prove to yourself that your future matters more than your feelings. Feelings lie. They tell you to rest when you should rise. They whisper comfort when your soul is begging for a challenge. They tell you it's okay to skip today, but they never tell you the price. The price is your momentum. The price is your confidence. The price is the life you were born to build. You don't get to rise without resistance. You don't get to evolve without friction. Discipline is the daily death of the lesser you. So the greater you can live, and every time you choose discipline, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. Because success isn't one big moment. It's 1,000 silent victories behind closed doors. It's the reps no one sees, the alarms no one hears, the effort no one praises. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it real. And if you're waiting for the world to notice before you act, you've already lost. Act now. Act often. Act with obsession. Because discipline now means freedom later. And without it, your potential rots into regret. Action is how belief becomes real. Action is how purpose becomes power. The world doesn't care what you plan to do. The world only responds to what you actually do. So many people sit and wait for the perfect time, but perfection is a myth. There will never be a perfect time. There will only be now and what you do with it. You can read every book, attend every seminar, visualize every outcome, but until you act, none of it matters. You don't learn confidence by thinking. You learn it by doing, by failing, by adjusting, by moving again and again. No matter how messy it feels, it's not about getting it right. It's about getting it going. Because momentum builds belief, and belief fuels discipline. And discipline delivers results. That's how you break the cycle. Not with inspiration, with action. Not with talk, with movement. Take the step, have the conversation, make the call, build the thing. Because while others wait, warriors work. While others fear, leaders move. While others overthink, champions execute. The only way out is through, and the only way through is forward. And as you move forward, there's one tool that changes everything: gratitude. Gratitude isn't soft. It isn't weak. Gratitude is power. Gratitude is the force that transforms pressure into perspective. Because you will face pain, you will hit walls, you will have days where everything goes wrong. But if you can find gratitude in the middle of it, you win. Not because you ignore the struggle, but because you choose to see through it. Because you decide to see the lesson, to see the strength it's building in you, to see the opportunity hidden in the hardship. Gratitude takes your worst moments and says, this is shaping me, this is sharpening me, this is preparing me for something greater. When you're grateful, you become unstoppable, because nothing can break a person who sees purpose in their pain. Gratitude keeps your soul aligned when life tries to break you. It keeps your vision alive when the world feels dark, and it turns pressure into progress. Every storm has two choices: to destroy you or to define you. Gratitude decides which one it will be. And as you evolve, there's one thing you must remember. You will have to adapt. You can't control the world. You can't control people, timing, markets, or circumstances. But you can control how you respond. Adaptability is the hidden advantage. It's the reason some rise while others break. It's the reason some bend while others snap. Darwin didn't say the strongest survive. He said the ones who adapt survive. So stop clinging to the version of you that fit last year. That person is gone. The moment you chose growth, you agreed to change. You agreed to reinvent, to evolve, to adjust. Adaptability isn't weakness. It's intelligence. It's resilience. It's the ability to face the fire and say, I'll come out of this smarter, faster, and stronger. You don't adapt by fearing change. You adapt by embracing it, by turning chaos into challenge and challenge into advantage. Change will come, whether you're ready or not. But transformation only comes when you're willing. So move when life shifts. Pivot when purpose calls. Redesign yourself when the old you no longer fits the future you're building. Because greatness doesn't belong to the one who stays the same. It belongs to the one who rises, reinvents, and refuses to settle. And through all of it, the vision, the grind, the setbacks, the fire, you will need one more thing: resilience. Resilience is not about being fearless. It's about being fear-trained. It's about getting knocked down so many times that the ground no longer scares you. Resilience means you rise faster every time. It means you learn faster, recover stronger, and push harder. It means that pain becomes your tutor, not your excuse. The most powerful people in history weren't the ones who had the smoothest path. They were the ones who turned brokenness into beauty, pain into purpose, and failure into fuel. Nelson Mandela was locked in a cell for nearly 3 decades and came out not with bitterness but with vision. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times, but every failure was another step toward the light. These weren't superhumans. They were people who chose resilience, who looked life in the eye and said, you will not break me. I was made for this, and so are you. You were made to rise. You were made to fight. You were made to take every scar, every setback, and turn it into strength. But you've got to make that decision. No one will make it for you. No one's coming to save you, because this war, it's yours. This battle, it's personal. You either win it, or you lose everything that could have been. The future isn't waiting. The clock doesn't pause, and life will not wait for you to feel ready. So stand up, lock in, and win the battle within. You've been told to wait, to be patient, to play it safe. But safe is the slow death of the soul. Comfort kills more dreams than failure ever will, because comfort convinces you to settle, to shrink, to justify a life that doesn't reflect the power inside you. You were not made for safety. You were made for expansion, for evolution, for the edge where everything inside you is tested and something greater is revealed. You want peace? Fight for it. You want success? Bleed for it. You want change? Burn for it, because nothing you want is on the other side of ease. It's all on the other side of fear, of doubt, of pain, of resistance. And you don't get there by hoping. You get there by moving, by making your mind harder than your circumstances, your vision louder than your excuses, your will stronger than your wounds. The pain is real, yes, but so is the potential. And the moment you choose to suffer on purpose, the suffering begins to serve you. Most people never realize this. They spend their entire life avoiding pain, not knowing that pain is the portal to their power. Pain will introduce you to parts of yourself that comfort never will. It will show you who you are when the mask comes off, when the applause is gone, when it's just you in the mirror. And in that mirror, you'll see the truth. You are not what's happened to you. You are not the mistakes you've made. You are not your failures. You are what you do next, that next breath, that next choice, that next step. That's who you really are. And if you step with power, the world will have no choice but to meet you with opportunity. But if you step small, if you let fear whisper louder than your calling, if you choose doubt over destiny, you'll stay trapped in a life that doesn't belong to you. Because life is always asking you one question: how bad do you want it? Not how much you wish for it. Not how often you talk about it. Not how often you talk about it. Not how much you envy those who have it. But how bad you're willing to fight for it, to bleed for it, to become the version of you who earns it. It's not about luck. It's about alignment. It's about matching your work to your words, your habits to your hunger, your mindset to your mission. You want to win, then start acting like someone who hates to lose. Train like it, think like it, show up like it, not once, not twice, every single day. Because when your identity shifts, your reality follows. You're not faking it. You're forging it. One action at a time, one decision at a time, one unbreakable moment of self-respect at a time. And when it gets hard, and it will, remind yourself, this is where most people quit. This is where they give up, where they turn around, where they say it's too much and walk away from everything they said they wanted, but not you. You're not most people. You don't back down. You don't bow out. You level up. You breathe through it. You rise through it. You win through it, because this isn't just about goals anymore. This is about who you become in pursuit of them. It's about knowing deep in your bones that you refused to let your potential rot in the comfort of average, that you stared into the fire and walked forward anyway. That's legacy. That's power. That's what it means to win the battle within. There's a version of you the world has never seen, a version forged in silence, a version born from every breakdown, every betrayal, every night you questioned if you were enough. It lives beneath the noise, beneath the doubt, beneath the surface of what others think you are. And that version, it's not waiting for permission. It's not hoping for validation. It's waiting for one thing: your decision to become it. Not one day, not someday. Because if you don't command your future, someone else will write it for you. And you weren't born to live on someone else's terms. You were born to take control of your mind, your habits, your life, to lead, to create, to dominate. But domination begins inside. You want to master the world? Start by mastering your emotions, master your reactions, master your internal dialogue, because the mind is a battlefield, and every day your thoughts are fighting for control. Fear versus faith, doubt versus discipline, excuses versus execution. And you have to choose over and over which voice you give power to. You either become the master of your mind or the prisoner of your patterns. But hear this: you were not born weak. You were born wired for greatness. The problem is, no one taught you how to access it. They taught you to fit in, to follow rules, to wait your turn. But greatness doesn't wait. It doesn't apologize. It doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. It takes up space. It steps into the room with fire in its eyes. It walks like it knows it belongs, even when the world says otherwise. And that's your job now: to walk like you belong, to speak like you believe, to act like the war has already been won. Because inside it has. But belief doesn't come from magic. It comes from momentum. It comes from proving to yourself over and over again that you are who you say you are. Every time you follow through, every time you show up, every time you rise, no matter how you feel, belief gets stronger. And with belief comes clarity. You stop chasing noise. You stop needing applause. You stop looking for signs. Because when the vision is clear, decisions become easy. You know what you're building. You know who you're becoming. You know what you'll say yes to and what you'll walk away from. Clarity is power, and power once found, it demands protection. Protect your mind, protect your energy, protect your standards. Stop letting people who haven't earned a voice shape your destiny. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Not everyone is qualified to speak into your future. This is your mission, your mountain, your legacy. And legacy isn't about being known. It's about being remembered by the people who watched you rise when everyone else backed down. So rise with conviction, rise with purpose. Because when you rise, you give others permission to do the same. You become a walking reminder that the fire inside is always stronger than the storm outside. But the moment you stop rising, the moment you start believing that where you are is where you'll stay, you begin to decay. Growth is not optional. It's the price you pay to keep your power. And yes, growth is uncomfortable. It means shedding skins, breaking patterns, facing the parts of yourself you've ignored for too long. But growth is also freedom, because on the other side of your limits is the life you actually want. And if you don't stretch, if you don't push, if you don't keep evolving, you'll outgrow the life you're living. You'll wake up surrounded by things you once wanted but no longer respect. Success without growth is just a polished cage. So choose the path that makes you uncomfortable. Choose the path that makes you feel alive. So choose the path that calls something greater out of you. That's the only path worth walking, because the battle within never truly ends. But here's the truth. The goal isn't to live without struggle. The goal is to become the kind of person who turns struggle into strength, pain into purpose, pressure into power. And when you do, when you rise again and again, no matter what life throws at you, you become something the world can't break, unshakable, unstoppable, unforgettable. You don't win by avoiding the war. You win by becoming the warrior, the kind that doesn't need to shout, the kind that doesn't need to prove, the kind that walks with silent confidence because they've faced the enemy within and conquered it. And once you've done that, there is nothing that can stop you. Not fear, not failure, not loss, not time. You've already won the battle most people never dare to fight. The battle for your mind, the battle for your life, the battle for your legacy. Now it's your move. You've come too far to quit now. Every moment of pain, every tear you swallowed in silence, every time you stayed committed when it would have been easier to disappear was not for nothing. It was shaping you, refining you, preparing you, not for comfort, but for greatness. You weren't built to just exist. You were built to lead, to influence, to rise so high that your very life becomes permission for others to do the same. But here's the secret no one tells you. The real war isn't external. It's not the economy. It's not the competition. It's not the critics. It's the voice inside. The one that tells you you're not ready, that you don't have what it takes, that your past disqualifies your future. That voice is a lie, and the only way to silence it is to drown it in action. Every time you take a step, you weaken its grip. Every time you move forward, you take your power back. Every time you refuse to give up, you prove to yourself that you are more than what you've been through. You become dangerous, not to others, but to the fear that used to control you. You become undeniable, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. You become unstoppable. Not because it's easy, but because you refuse to stop. This is your revolution, not in the world, but within. You change your habits, you change your focus, you change your life. And everything around you starts to bend to your new standard. People won't understand it. They'll say you're different, that you've changed, and you have, because you're not here to be liked. You're here to be legendary. You're not here to blend in. You're here to break through. This is your time, not tomorrow, not next year, now. Now is when you decide who you are. Now is when you commit to your vision like your life depends on it, because it does. Now is when you win the battle within, because if you don't, if you let your fears run your life, if you let your excuses hold you hostage, if you surrender your future to your old self, then you lose everything. Not just money, not just opportunities. You lose your essence, your fire, your identity, your reason. But that's not how your story ends, because deep down, something in you still believes, something in you still burns, something in you still knows. You were born to be more, to live full, to die empty, to leave nothing unused, to look back and say, I gave everything to become who I was born to be. And when that day comes, when your name is no longer spoken, when your time on this earth is done, let them say you were relentless. Let them say you were a force. Let them say you won the battle that most never had the courage to face. Let your life become the proof that mindset is everything, that belief is a weapon, that discipline is destiny, that purpose is fire, that action is freedom, that the inner war can be won, and when it is, the outer world has no choice but to follow. So rise, stand tall, walk forward, not in fear, but in fury, in faith, in unbreakable truth. Because in the end, you either win the battle within, or you lose everything. And you were born to win.